Hey guys, this is Coated Steel, and as promised, today we are going to build a number guesser. So, since this is like our first real project that we're doing in the advanced series, unfortunately we don't get to make use of the user functions. I promise next time we will go over this library that I created here, and I'll explain to you all the functions that I have inside of this. But for now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to build a number guesser, which does not require the user functions library. So this is basically what we're going to build, just showing you some of the example code. I did build this ahead of time, guys, to try to optimize it and make it this code as small as I can so we don't have to do a ton of coding. So basically how it's going to work is I pick a number, any number between 1 and 1000 as it says on the screen. So I'm going to pick 76. So 76 is definitely less than 500. It's definitely less than 250. It's definitely less than 125. Well, it's greater than 63, so I hit G. It's less than 94. It's less than 79. It's greater than 71. It's greater than 75. It's less than 77. And then ask me if it's 76. And it is 76 because that was the number I chose. So I hit E and the code is done. It's done executing. So as you guys can see, it slowly guesses and tries to hone in on the number. That's what the code does. You pick a number and it hones in on it. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that in coding. First thing we need to do is we need to declare a couple variables. What we're going to do is I'm going to declare a variable called num, and I'm going to set it equal to 500. This may not make sense to you guys why I'm doing this now. Just kind of try to follow along. And then I'm going to create a variable called lower bound, and then another variable called upper bound. And actually I'm going to set it to 1001. Why am I setting it to 1001 and 0, guys? Because it needs to be one past the number you're trying to reach because of the algorithm we're going to use to calculate it. I'll explain that in a second. And then we have a factor variable. Like I said, this was all done ahead of time, guys, so if this doesn't make any sense, I will explain it all to you. Just kind of follow the coding. Then we're going to use a bool, and we're going to I call it CP in some of the code I created, and I'm going to set it equal to true. True, guys, as I think we've discussed before, all true is 1. I'm setting it equal to 1, and I use the type bool. Quick note. In order to use bool, you need to have the standard bool library imported. So make sure you guys have all of the libraries that I have towards the top here. Otherwise, this code will not compile correctly. Alright, last thing we need to do for variables is we're going to spell car wrong, and we're going to go ahead and set a value for our car called value. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do outside of a while loop is we're going to do puts. Now, I think I explained fputs. I'm not sure if I explained to you guys what puts does. It's just the version of, it's the compiler version of fputs. All it does is it will print a string out on the screen and then go to a new line. It's a more simplified version of printf. That's all it is. So I just use this. You could use printf, whatever. But anyways, I do say pick a number between 1 and 1000. And now, the important thing to note is you guys can't change the number. Once you say 70 something, or whatever number you decide to go with, 35, you have to stick with it. If you change it, then the computer's not going to guess the number correctly. So, that was the last line of code that actually goes outside of the while loop that we're going to do. Now we're going to do a while loop. And this while loop is not going to continue forever like a lot of times that we've done in previous C coding and whatever else that I did in some of my easier tutorials. It's just going to be while CP. Okay, so as you guys can see here, if I put the CP, and I've explained this to you guys before, as long as the value within the parameters is 1, the while loop will continue to execute. So as you guys can see, true is a 1, so it will continue to execute this code forever. So now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and we need to give the user a prompt. And the prompt is going to be in the form of a printf statement, and I do 2 \n after I put it around in the quotes. And basically all I'm going to say is number, I say equal to, let's see, less than, whatever, I'm going to just leave it spelled wrong, you guys can fix on yours, or greater than percent %d. Percent %d is our num. That's where we're going to put our num at. Okay, so that takes care of the user prompt. Now we need to get a value or some kind of a thing here. And actually what I do for the code, I forgot to put this, is I say equal, less than, or greater than. So as you guys can see, we're going to be taking character input. Okay, we're not going to be taking a numerical input like we have in the past. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something that you guys have not seen before. You guys have seen the getch function before and how it can be used to pause the screen. But what you might not know is that the getch function returns a value. So since it's a function that actually is not void and it returns a value, I can actually take value and set it equal to the getCharacter function. It returns a character, and what character does it return? The character you press on the keyboard. So if I press E, it'll return E. If I press L, it'll return L. If I press G, it will return a G. So as you guys can see, it can be a very handy function. Anyways, now if we want to say value is equal, and if you guys remember correctly, how do we check if a character is equal to something? You have to put the little hash marks. And I'm going to do a simplified if loop. I'm just going to put CP equals not CP. What does that code do? Well, like I said, takes the not of CP. If it's a 1, make it a 0. If it's a 0, make it a 1. Simple enough. Now, we have 2 else if statements. And our first else if statement is going to be if value is equal to G. Then we want to do something. Well, what do we want to do? We want to take our lower bound variable and set it equal to our num. Why are we doing this? Like I said, guys, I'm going to try to explain it, and it doesn't look like I'm probably going to get through this because I got about 1 more minute. But I will definitely get through it in our next tutorial, how all of this is going to go down. And then we check for L. And what do we do for this? It's going to be upper bound is equal to num. So let's see here. We got all of that taken care of. The last thing we want to do is we want to get an improper character press. So we want to have an else statement, and we're just going to say print f. And we're just going to say invalid character. And blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I think, yeah, I put a space here. And then I end the line. So that's actually as far as we're going to get in this tutorial, guys. We actually got like 2 or 3 more lines of code, which kind of irritates me that I wasn't able to get through this. But next time, we will finish this code off and we will discuss what it does, how it works, and why it works the way it does. So that's all I've got for you guys. Next time we will finish up this tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time.